All right, welcome back to Savanna Techie. I'm your host, Rafael Ndwiga. In the previous video, if you haven't seen it, I've given the link top right on this video. In the previous video, what we looked at, we looked at how to create a personal access token. In this particular session, we'll be looking at how to create a new Git repo. Repo, short for repository. So to create a new Git repo, what you do is that you go at the top right, okay, top right where my cursor is, and here you click on that particular plus button, and then select new repository. So select new repository, and you give the repository a name. So you can give the name that you are being given in class, or you can use the name that you want for your new project. So I can say, since I'll be using this repository to for teaching purposes, I will say this is Savanna full stop hyphen tutorials underscore Git. Okay, so it's tutorial on Git, and then I can say I can give now the description. So the description is not mandatory, but it depends on what kind of a question that we've been asked. So now I'll give you a description. Say that this repository is dedicated to learning how to use Git. Okay, then here you have two settings. You have public and private. Public, when you select public, it means anyone who is on GitHub or they've just visited GitHub, they can go to see this particular repository. If you choose private, for private, it means that if you for someone to be able to see this repository that I have created, that's Savanna -tutorial underscore Git, then I must give them access. And to give someone access to a private repository, first they must have a GitHub account. So they will share with you their GitHub handle or their GitHub email address, and then you can go to add them. So in one of the videos, I will be showing you how to create a repository, set it to private, and then invite someone to join that particular repository. So you have additional settings. We talk about initializing the repository with you can add a readme. So I will not add a readme right now. Then you can add git ignore. Git ignore files is a file that is used to tell Git that as it's pushing your local content to the remote Git, that to ignore certain files, or to ignore certain files, or ignore certain extension. So that's basically what it's used. It's basically telling Git ignore this file, or ignore a file with this particular extension, ignore this particular directory, don't send this directory to upstream. And then you can be able now can also choose a license. So a license tells others what they can and they cannot do with your code. So there are various kinds of licenses that you can give your that you can put in your code. So a license basically restrict what others can be able to do the code that you are sharing. We have permissive license such as MIT. We have GNU, we have BSD license. In one of the future videos, I'll be covering about the license and what they mean. So now I'll just leave this one as default. That is Git ignore template is none, this is none, and no readme. And then I'll do create repository. Okay, so now as you can see, quick setup I've done. So right now I don't have a Git repo on my machine. I don't have this repo on my machine. So we've successfully created an account. So if at all we had an existing work, we already had some existing work in your machine, then you'd use this to for quick setup. And then you can, you use this, the repository for an existing code base that you already have. This is what you use. So you use this one to add the URL to that repository, and then set the branch, and then push origin main. But in our case, this is a new repo, so we don't have any work, so we are starting from scratch. So I can go to start creating. We can now, this is basically a short guide, so it tells you now to or create a new repo on the command line, and then this the instructions on how to go about it. So what I will do, is I will clone. Okay, so what I will do is that I will create this, I will clone this repository, and to clone the repository, I will use this command. Just a minute. There we go. So what I will do is that I will clone this repository, and to do that, I will clone this repository. I'll clone this repository here, and the repository name is Savanna-tutorial__git. So now what I will do is I'll copy this, my personal access token that I had generated in the earlier video. Okay, so I'll copy that, and then I'll make sure that I paste it. You see these particular curly braces, it means that I have to replace everything, including the curly braces. So I replace that with the access token, and then my Git username. So the Git username is rndwiga. Okay, so I will write here rndwiga. So replace everything there, rndwiga, and then the name of the repository is Savanna -git tutorial_git. So I'll copy this, and then go back to my text editor, and then have that name there. So this link, this cloning link has various parts. It has a command git clone. Clone means get whatever is on there from the server, and it has the first part is whereby you have the access token. You can see I don't have the opening curly brace and the closing one, and then at github.com, and then there is my username and the repository name. So I will copy this entire string. There we go. And then what I will do is I will come to my terminal. So if you're using a remote resource, then they will have given you a terminal to use. So I'll come there, then I'll do copy and paste. So to copy and paste, you can use the command Control-A-V to do to paste the content that you have already copied. So then I'll hit enter. So you can see it tells me that I've cloned an empty repository. The next thing that we will do is the next thing that I will do is that we will now create. So now, next step is to create a README file. A README file, as the name suggests, it tells a person to read the content of to read what that particular file states. So as a guide, I will use the content that we provided by GitHub. So now you scroll up to have that content there, and then able now to create a file. So you can create now, you can use, depending on the instruction that you have been provided. In my case, I'll just use this echo. So what echo means is what this command means. It means that write this content that is between the quotation marks to this file. So back to my terminal, I'll do ls. Okay, and to create this particular file, I need to be inside the folder that was created when you did git clone. Let me repeat. To write this new file, the README file, I need to be in the folder that was created by the git command, by the git clone command. So to see which particular folder is that, I'll just do ls. I will see the folder name, of which this particular folder name is the same as the name of the git repo. So I'll do cd Savanna there, and then I'll let you know the command there, and then I'll paste this command. So I will do control A V and then hit enter. It has created it. And then the next thing I will do, I will echo out. I will cut to see the content of that particular file, just to make sure that the content, this content that was written in the file. So I'll do cut, then readme, able to see that particular content given there. Now, before I can commit this, before I can commit the changes to upstream, what I will need to do is I will need to set my user IDs. My user IDs on Git. Just basically what the user ID, by user ID I mean to tell Git that I'm Raphael. This is my email, and I'll be the one who will be pushing changes to Git. So to do that, we have the command. We'll use the command git config and then -- global .username. So make sure that your username, and then there's email. Make sure that here for the email, the email needs to be in the quotation mark. So just type my email here. Okay, and then have my name here. So make sure the name and the email is both of them are in the quotation marks, the opening and closing quotation mark. So since I have that one in place, now I'll just go back to my console, and then I'll paste that particular content there. Copy, then I paste, and then I will do the same for this other one. So I could have typed the two commands directly on the terminal, and it still have worked. But since I want to minimize the number of errors I'm committing, the number of errors that I'm able to do due to a typo, I'm just first of all typing them on on a text editor. In my case, my text editor is called GIT. Yours might be Notepad or Notepad++. Now, once that one is done, to now push the content, to add now, okay, once that one has been done, and I do git status, okay, so when you issue the command git status, what it does is it tells you there is no commit and tracked files. So this is a file that has been added and is not currently being tracked. To track this file, I'll use the command git add and then full stop, or I can say git add and then the specific file that I want to commit. So you can either do git add then the file, or you can say git add full stop. So the difference between the two is that the git add full stop tells Git to add everything, to stage all the files that have been changed, everything. But when you be specific with a file, it means that you just want to add that file. So you may have other files that have changed on your local repository and don't want to commit them yet. So this is, in that particular case, then the best command to use is git add and that particular file name that you want to commit. So now for me, I'll just do git add then full stop, and then and then the next thing I'll do a commit message. So a commit message is basically a description of what you have, a description of what that particular commit is all about. It's good to get into practice of using clear and concise commit messages. So here I'll say git commit -m, note -m, and then space, then full opening full quotation mark, and say, since this is the first commit that I'm doing, I'll say this is my first commit, and then close the quotation mark and hit enter. Now if I do git status, it will tell me that your branch is based on origin master, but the upstream is gone. Okay, so we'll work on this one. We'll fix this particular. So what I can do here, I can either issue this command, okay, or I can do, or I can just go directly and issue the command git push. Git push means push the changes on your local Git repo to the upstream. So if I hit enter, okay, when I hit enter, what will happen is that the content has been committed to, have been pushed upstream. So upstream, by upstream it means it has gone to github.com or any other remote repo that you're using. So we have GitHub, we have Bitbucket, and then we have forgotten the name of the other one. Okay, so but we have GitHub, we have Bitbucket, yeah, and a couple of others. So now if I go back to my repository and I hit reload, okay, I refresh, you will see that particular you see the readme file that you have written. Yes, we can be able to see the readme file. Now if I click inside if I click the readme file, you can be able to basically, yeah, see the content that is there. All right, so that's all about how to create a Git repository and make your first commit. Thank you, and see you in my next tutorial.